To the Spurs Rewind, take two, because I don't know what happened with the other live stream that we just tried to do right now, but it just funked out on us for some reason. So we're going to go ahead and do a second take here. So I'm your host, Joe Garcia, and be joined here again by our co host, Rocky Garza Jr. And we're going to be talking about some jerseys that actually leaked the other day. I just saw this on Twitter and I kind of shared it out there with everybody. And it came courtesy of Casey Vitelli on Twitter, and you can go ahead and follow him. His Twitter handle is CASEY. What is it? VITELLI. That Casey Vitelli. So you can go ahead and make sure you follow him on social media. And let's see if I can even share my screen, because I tried to share my screen and that's what messed up. So I'm gonna try it again. Okay, it looks like it's working this time. So let's see if I can get it bigger. Okay, there we go. Let me go ahead and turn off the chat real quick. There we go. So you can see here, you can see Casey Vitelli shared shared this rendering, I guess you could say. I'm gonna try to enlarge it a little bit. And as you can see, these are like jersey leaks that are supposed to supposedly come out next season. And you can see that in these leaks, they have the George Gervin esque silver and black, traditional silver and black jersey with the iconic San Antonio written across the front of the jersey, which looks great. And this is what Spurs fans, especially me, I've been wanting this. I've been waiting for this for quite some time. And I hope that this actually comes to fruition, because these are just concepts. Anything can change. Teams could switch designs, or, just these are just like prototypes that they're just playing around with. Well, Rocky, what do you think? If this actually comes to life here, and this in fact is a leak of the jerseys that are going to be coming out next season for the San Antonio Spurs. You a fan of the George Gervin iconic jerseys?
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I was never really a fan of the army ones. It's not any disrespect to the military, but I just feel like they, did those military ones consistently, and they never came out with a new design. I was a big fan when they brought out the Fiesta ones this year. I just kind of had a little, it was just being me being picky, but I didn't really like the letters in the Fiesta. It kind of just looked off
Yeah.
to me. But then I saw it in person. I was like, oh, it made sense. But I like the old classic, the blacks, and then the other one that you're gonna show is like the one I'm kind of wearing, where that
Yeah.
represents the All Star
There you
game.
go.
Those are my favorite, and I feel like those All Star ones have been the best All Star jerseys you've seen compared to ones that they had this year.
Yeah, so this right here is the other jersey that was included with the leaks, and this one is very reminiscent of the 1996, All Star jerseys, because the All Star game was, hosted here in San Antonio, and that's when we got the jalapeno with the ball. Everybody here in San Antonio loves these jerseys. They love the color scheme, and I think they're one of the better jerseys that they've had in the NBA All Star game. And you can see the rendition here, this rendering. It kind of mimics that with the coloring and even the side panels here. So this is just another leak, supposed leak. We'll see if this really does happen. I mean, but if it does, I'd take this over the Fiesta jerseys we have right now, because I'd love to see the court, with a jalapeno on the court somewhere. If they're going to do a retro night like that, I think this is really fire. It
Mhm.
really strikes a chord with the fan base. So I can't wait, to see what happens. I mean, I'll take this
Yeah.
over again, the Fiesta jerseys. I think the Fiesta jerseys have kind of run their course, and we need something else for retro night. So we're going to go ahead and get into our second topic here. So let me go ahead and get this done. And that's going to be DeJounte Murray again. We're going to be talking about DeJounte. DeJounte, he landed in San Antonio yesterday, coming home from the NBA All-Star weekend. And as soon as he got off the plane, what does the guy do? He goes to work, man. So you got to love
My
that
dogs.
about your point guard. Let
Fresh
me
off
go
the
ahead and see if
plane,
I can.
back in the gym.
Let me see if I can share this with you. I'll share the audio here. So here you go. This is DeJounte coming straight off the plane, landing in San Antonio.
Fresh off the plane, back in the gym. My dogs. Fresh off the plane.
So that's him. He's back in the gym right off the plane, practicing in the Spurs practice facility, and you love to see that out of your point guard. He's already getting ready for the game that's going to be happening on Friday against the Washington Wizards. I mean, he's a leader, man. I mean, the guy's in there working right off the plane. What do you think about that, Rocky?
Dude, you hit it right in the head, man. He's a leader. He has that mama mentality, and he really wants it. The Spurs always we're all about leadership.
Ain't
Just
bagging
being a good person,
Yeah.
and just having that person and having that that person that's going to lead the team. We assumed it was going to be Kawhi that was going to be the one leading team, but then the whole debacle happened. But now you see that DeJounte is going to be that true leader because before the season, once DeMar left, DeMar was the leader last season, and no one really knew who was going to step up to the plate. But Murray's really showing that he wants to lead the team, so that's a good sign, and it's going to probably give some fire under the Spurs players to be with DeJounte and get up there.
Yeah, definitely. So he's setting the tone, hey, just because I was at the NBA All-Star festivities doesn't mean I'm taking days off. He goes and starts putting in work. So you love to see it. Hopefully it translates to a Spurs win because that's kind of important right now, especially if they want to keep on flirting with the play-in game. I personally, I don't want them to make the play-in game only because I know that's going to hurt their chances in the NBA in the NBA draft that's going to be coming up. But needless to say, you still like to see him putting in the work. And as long as the team plays hard, that's all I really care about, looking at the growth of the young core. So they can remain competitive and tank softly. I'm fine with it, Rocky.
Exactly. No, 100%. You hit. Like you said, man, the team's not going to come and openly say they're going to lose. So DeJounte wants to win. You're going to get better through losses, and he wants to win. So it's going to be a good sign for him. Leading the next generation of players.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and share some stuff here with you guys as well, because we're going to be talking about DeJounte Murray and, his presence that he had over there at the All-Star festivities this weekend. One of the things that was really cool to see is, he kind of showed his new kicks that he had there. This is the new colorway that he had, or the new style that a shoe that he has coming out from New Balance called the two-way V2. And they, like you said it, like they said it right here, it's coming in the spring. And this is one of the colorways. There's another one that we're going to show, but this is just some of the shots that I have of DeJounte, at the All-Star weekend. Looking pretty fly there, man, in his suit,
Yeah, man, I'm pretty jealous.
He was representing San Antonio. Uh, I think he did a beautiful job representing the team, and not only the team but the city. And this is him at a photo shoot, and of course, this was him being introduced. His first appearance at the NBA All-Star game. So I know all the Spurs fans were excited about that. Just kind of some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, taking pics with some of the players. You have Zach LaVine there. He over here, he's meeting AI. You know, Isaiah Thomas there, so it was really cool to see, all the things that he was doing. And then we're getting into the game itself. And I'm like, he put on a performance at the NBA All-Star game. He just didn't go to show up. He came to play, and you look at some of the highlights, especially this dunk from LaMelo, with the assist. I mean, that's beautiful, man. Look at that. That's our San Antonio point guard, DeJounte Murray, San Antonio Sun, should we say, representing the city, And the other dunk that I really liked was the one that he did, the alley-oop to himself,
Exactly.
That was the one that I really got excited about. I was like, man, DeJounte, he's putting on a show, This is the picture of it, as you can see right there. But, man, it was great to see him out there playing at such a high level. And I got to say, just based on what I saw, and the way he handled himself, we're going to give out grades as far as, how well did DeJounte do, at the NBA All-Star game itself. And if I got to tell you, man, for his first outing, I got to give the kid at least an A, man, an A plus. I think he did an outstanding job out there, not only in the game, but representing the city and, the team itself, and the way he conducted himself, interviews, and, just he was there with his daughter as well. So it was a family affair. Great things. And another thing I like too is kind of like the passing of the torch. You had David Robinson come out to him and, kind of meet him and greet him and hug him. So I give DeJounte an A plus. I mean, what would you grade him?
Oh yeah, 100% A plus. And the main thing I liked is that you could tell he didn't feel like he was just there because he was a replacement. Yeah, people can see that he was a replacement, but you can tell he's not going to be complacent. He doesn't want to be a one-hit wonder, as he said, and I feel like he's going to have that motivation and that drive to get better. He hasn't reached his ceiling, in my opinion, and you're going to possibly see him more at the All-Star game. It was kind of a cool moment to see David Robinson go up to him and how he said, told his daughter like, "Oh, your dad's breaking my records." That's so cool to see. Us growing up on David Robinson and him passing the torch, as you're saying. It's just real cool to see, and finally a Spur back in the All-Star game since LaMarcus is there. But I saw a lot of NBA Twitter made me laugh. They're like, "Hey, the NBA vets need to tell DeJounte it's not a serious game. This guy's taking it serious," and it's just funny because I mean, like, he's gonna take it serious. They don't really take it serious in the All-Star game until like the end when they reach that target score. But DeJounte was trying the whole game, and
He
if
wasn't
Team
playing.
Durant, yeah, yeah, and if Team Durant, would have pulled out the victory, he could have been a viable MVP candidate.
Yeah, I ran a poll too, so I'm going to show the poll earlier in the week, and I was saying, hey, Spurs fans, let's go ahead and grade DeJounte Murray's performance in the All Star game, and I gave a grade. I gave him a choice: A plus, A minus, B, or C, and the unanimous decision was they're giving DeJounte Murray an A plus on how well he did at his first ever NBA All Star game. So it wasn't just us; everybody else took notice of him as well. And they really got behind DeJounte and they appreciated what he was able to do out there. I know a lot of the players had, nice things to say about DeJounte as well. So he's getting a lot of attention from a lot of people from around the league, which is a good thing. It's putting San Antonio on the map. Hopefully it makes it a little bit more attractive to maybe some free agents, to want to come out and play with the point guard who is now a certified or a bona fide NBA All-Star.
Hey,
So
did you see people were like, look at the future backcourt of LaMelo and DeJounte,
I
and
saw that.
I was like, man, LaMelo and DeJounte would be nasty, or him and Levine. I was like, geez, that would be such a nasty and such a sight to see. But we'll have to see what happens. You never know.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen. But another thing we saw too is that we had another uh, picture release or another release here of the new colorway for Dejounte. I kind of showed, right before we started, coming and talking about kicks again, Dejounte's picture that he took, and that was I guess, a one-off, game colorway that he's using, in-game colorway on his new, you know, was it two-way V2 Marigold Blue colorway is the new one that's coming out. So I'm gonna go ahead and show this one, and fans kind of liked it. Some people dug it, and other people just didn't really care for it. I mean, me personally, I didn't think it was bad. I mean, I liked it. As you can see, I mean, it's not a bad shoe. I mean, what do you think of it, Rocky?
I mean, I never wore New Balance and been like a real big basketball kick guy. The kind of kicks that I own right now, I own some KDs, but since I'm like flat-footed, kind of random, like I have to like really be picky on what my feet. So I wear that, but I would wear them.
Did I lose you, Brock?
Do you hear me?
Yeah, there, you're back. I thought I lost you for a second. Okay, well, I liked it, so I thought it was cool, and you kind of liked it as well. And some of the fans liked it, some of them didn't. Some of them liked the other version that he wore in game, more than they liked this. Needless to say, I think it's going to create some excitement when they finally release them. Fans are going to be going out to the New Balance store and probably trying to pick some up and resell them on the resale market, on eBay and the other outlets that they have out there. So another thing that we're going to go ahead and dive into and kind of talk about is, yeah, let me go ahead and change that. We're going to go ahead and talk about what changes, or not changes. Now, before we talk about the changes, let's talk about the NBA All Star Weekend itself. Now, I don't usually see like the celebrity game. I don't really care for that, but I will watch the Rising Stars Challenge. So I went ahead and watched the Rising Stars game, and it's more like a tourney. They changed the format, so it's like a tourney,
Mhm.
and I thought it was okay. I didn't really care for the tournament style too much. I think they should have just kept it as a traditional game, kind of like they do with the NBA All Star game. But they're trying to do things different, so I appreciated that. That they were trying to do some different things out there. The game wasn't bad. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I got to see a lot of the younger talent that the NBA has to offer. You saw some rookies, and then you saw some people in their sophomore year. Not bad at all. What did you think about the format? And were you a fan of the Rising Stars Challenge?
I mean, the Rising Stars Challenge to me, it was pretty interesting how they did it. Um, I was just kind of confused at first, like because I didn't really, hear about the new format. But I was always a fan of like the single players because you always saw the bigger guys getting into it. But it was kind of random how they did the Antetokounmpo brothers, the Cavs players and the rookies. But I thought it was necessarily cool, and I was loving seeing Evan Mobley out there. I was like, man, I wish he was a Spur. But yeah, it was pretty nice.
Yeah, the Rising Stars to me was pretty cool. I didn't mind it at all. But then when you started getting into kind of the 3-point challenge, the skills challenge. The skills challenge to me was pretty pretty cool. I enjoyed it because they made some changes. The targets would actually move now when they were going to go ahead and try to get the ball through the little hoop or whatever they have there, the obstacle course. And then the obstacle course itself was a little bit different, which wasn't bad at all. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed watching the players compete on teams. I think that was a big thing, watching the players compete on teams. It wasn't just one guy running around like like in the old days. This was a little bit different, and I like the format. I can get behind it. It was enjoyable to watch. It wasn't boring. The other thing is 3-point shooting contest. That was pretty cool too. Even though it is what it is. It's straight up just people shooting the ball. They had the dew balls, the green balls that they had there, the money balls, the traditional money balls, and then I thought that the shooters that they had performed admirably. You had a lot of great shooters there, and I mean, Carl Anthony Towns, who would have picked him to win the whole damn thing? The big cat, Patty Mills. He performed okay. It was good to see former Spur Patty Mills out there competing. But all in all, I enjoyed the skills challenge. I enjoyed the 3-point shooting contest. Your thoughts on the 3-point shooting contest? Did you think that Carl Anthony Towns was going to win?
Heck no. I mean, it's no disrespect to him, but you assume it's like I personally chose Luke Kennard or Patty Mills. I chose Patty Mills with my, is it SA native? So I was like, oh, Patty's gonna win 100%. He's gonna put on a show. But I didn't think Cat would win, and I saw some of the players and I figured would make the next round. But Cat really surprised me. But then after, he came out talking about it was for his mom and Steph Curry had talked to him before and give him some tips. So it kind of made sense. But I'm glad that he did it for his mom. It was a real nice thing. But I thought Kennard would be coming in as the favorite. He's been shooting real well this season. But I was just kind of bummed to see Patty, and then I had to go see the snooze fest. The next thing, man, the dunk contest, man. I
Yeah,
don't know
we
what to
got to
say
talk
about
about
that.
that. Let's talk about the dunk contest. Now, the dunk contest is kind of dated already. I mean, there's only so many dunks that you can pull off. And then the talent that they put in there isn't like top level talent. They get some kids that can jump, and I'm not going to discount that. You get some guys that are athletic out there, but the fans want to see the upper level talent, and they don't compete in the slam dunk contest. Something's got to change about that. You want to be able to have a big draw. You want to have your best players representing the league, and I get, that they maybe don't want to compete, want to save themselves, for the rest of the season, don't want to risk an injury. But I mean, you got to do something. And if you're not going to get the upper level talent, you're just going to get, you know, these kids that still got some spring to them, and they're athletic. Change things up. Maybe have them compete on, like teams like they did with the skills challenge. I even thought about going as far as having different levels as far as the height of the rim. Have several different rims, have 3 rims, and hey, if you make a dunk on this rim, it's worth so many points. Maybe have them jump off a trampoline or something and try to reach a second level, that's a little higher, and then a third level. And they can do some great things because they would be competing together as teams, helping
Mhm.
each other do like dual dunks at the same time or something. Something needs to change. And then I think that just having the dunks just be randomly assigned is going to be something that would be cool to see too, because you can just say you push a button and it just gives you a random dunk and you got to try to recreate it, and they'll show a video or something and you got to do your best to try to recreate this iconic dunk. And then they'll show the player who dunked it, you know, who made this dunk. And then they'll show you side by side, and they'll leave it up to not just the judges, but to the fans as well to say, hey, we like this dunk the most or what. But getting everybody involved, I think, is the way to go. But something's got to change, man. This dunk contest was a snooze fest. You even had people leaving. They remember they even showed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He got up and left, dude. He was bored. He saw enough. I mean, what do you think? What changes would you make in the dunk contest?
See, I never thought about how you brought up that. That would be something interesting to do. But it's just the thing, like, how do the NBA and the players agree to like get the biggest stars? You know, it'd be kind of cool how you see the team, but it just depends like how you're gonna create that poll. But I like your idea of just because it'd be cool to see the iconic dunks remake because like you saw the corny dunk from Cole Anthony he's putting on his Tims like he could have hurt himself. You saw Jalen Green wearing an NFT and people were making memes out of him like why
He didn't even dunk with the NFT because the chain
no,
was
he didn't. And then like at the end, like Obi Toppin did have a good dunk. You know, you hit it against the backboard and then you dunk. But then he just needed an easy score, so he did it again. So it was like kind of boring. You saw Shaq even said like he had the meme where he just like dude like for real. But my thought is they should bring in pro dunkers. Maybe have like the NBA players select like some of the top NBA players select one of the pro dunkers and have them represent a team, a sense, and then whatever team wins, all the money goes to him or goes to a certain charity. There's some pro dunkers that are crazy what they're doing, and I just feel like it's more a pride thing. Maybe the NBA wouldn't do. I kind of brought up on the show last week, this past Sunday on Sweep the League that maybe you do where you bring in a pro players from all the sports. Back then you had Dion Duncan, Chris Carter, Michael Conley Sr. That would be cool to see something, competing. Because I brought up the fact you had Miles Garrett throw better dunks in the thing in the celebrity game, and you had Bleacher Report said dunk contest sequel to these are the real dunks that should have been in the All Star game. The All Star game had such better dunks. But I like your idea. It's because it's a new thing. And the NBA needs to get out of it because there hasn't been a good dunk contest since 2016. And ever since Gordon got robbed, none of the players want to do it now.
Yeah, he got robbed because of Dwayne Wade, dude. I mean, come on now.
Oh yeah, man, that's ridiculous. Honestly, I
But
was so mad when he got robbed.
another thing they can do too is add in on the team. Like if they're gonna dunk and it's gonna be teams assigned, you have to go ahead and include the team's mascot. If your team is being represented at the NBA All-Star game, you have to have the mascot involved in the dunk
Mhm.
somehow. Either have the mascot dunk or you're going to use them as a prop. They're going to be involved in some way. I think that would be cool too, because again, people love these mascots as well and they can dunk. They do performances, throughout the game
Mhm.
where they're dunking and doing various things. So it'd be cool to see what they can all come up with together, but definitely something needs to change because I think the commissioner's probably seen the ratings go down and go down and go down, and he's like, "Well, we got to do something now because they're going to start losing money soon because they're going to lose sponsors because nobody's going to want to sponsor the snooze fest that is the dunk contest." So
Exactly. And another thing to also we can I propose, why don't you add a 1v1 contest? Wouldn't NBA fans want to see a 1v1? You have Curry versus Dame, LeBron versus Durant, Kawhi versus his teammate Paul George. That'd be cool to see a 1v1 because what if that 1v1 player or NBA player comes out and says, I challenge him, and the player's like, no, it's like, why are you ducking him? It creates a narrative and kind of creates, ratings. Because when they brought up the AI team acting, I thought they were actually going to play 1v1 and then you just
yeah,
have them just talking. I was like, okay, like what am I watching? So it was just All-Star Weekend was kind of weird, especially with the Steph Curry and Aisha Curry thing, and then the random performances. Like it's just kind of a waste of time.
yeah, I didn't care for it too much. But let's go ahead and talk about, you know, something else that happened, which was going to be the NBA did this thing where it was the NBA 75. The 75 greatest players were going to be represented at the NBA All-Star game. They kind of had like a tribute to the greatest players of all time. And they had some Spurs represented. So I'm going to show this on the screen here. They had the Iceman, George Gervin, not Steve Nash, but George Gervin there represented. And we also had David Robinson representing the San Antonio Spurs. And Tim Duncan, you love Tim's though, man. Like, he's trolling there, dude. He's overdoing it because he just didn't want to be there, period. He didn't care. So this is his kind of a slap in the face, like, all right, you're gonna make me do this. I don't want to do it. I'm gonna act like I'm overly excited. So you love Tim's troll job there. Great job, Tim Duncan. but noticeably, we had some Spurs that were iconic in their own right, and they're missing, namely Tony Parker and of course Manu Ginobili. Like, how do you not include Manu? He's arguably the best six man in NBA history, and he's not represented at the NBA All Star game. Like, you have
Mhm.
Russell Westbrook. I'm like, what? I mean, Damian Lillard. I'm like, you could easily replace them with Tony and Manu. And I'm going to show this too, because this is the list of players that didn't make the cut. So this was courtesy of Clutch Points on Twitter, and they said the biggest names not on the NBA 75 greatest players list of all time. You were missing Paul Gasol, Dwight Howard, Chris Bosh, Tony Parker, Vince Carter. How the hell do you not have Vince Carter on there? You know, Alex English, Bernard King, Tracy McGrady, T Mac get no love. Klay Thompson, Kyrie Irving, Draymond Green, Paul George, Manu Ginobili. So those are the other greats that were noticeably absent from the NBA's 75 greatest players of all time. I don't know how they came about with picking the players, but not having Tony and not having Manu. Okay, if you're not going to put Tony on, okay, I get it. All
Mhm.
right. But Manu, I mean, you got to have Manu. He's right now, he's a finalist in the Naismith's the Basketball Hall of Fame. He's a finalist,
Mhm.
and you're not going to include him. He's that good that you're not going to include him in the list. So, and he's a multiple NBA champion. It's not like, oh, he just won it once. He's won it several times. I mean, there's no excuse for this. I mean, what are your thoughts on this whole debacle?
It's no sense to me. I mean, first off, you got to take off Dame and Russell Westbrook. They're great players, but there's no way they're more accomplished than Tony and Manu. Or even let's say you don't put Tony and Manu on there. How do you not have T Mac or Vince Carter, one of the two most iconic players? When I was looking at the list, those players, if they say those are the biggest snubs, to me, the biggest snubs were Dwight Howard, Pau Gasol, um, Manu, Tony. I almost said Tim. I don't know why. Manu, Tony, and then I think there was one more. I forgot.
Vince? They didn't put
Yeah,
Vince.
Vincent T Mac. Yeah. So those are the two. So I don't understand how this list goes about. And I'm looking at the list right now. You can take off the ones I said. Is Jason Kidd really was better accomplished than Tony? That's what I'm saying.
No,
Jason Kidd was good. He's
he's good.
good. But is he better? You know, it's like,
Doesn't
and then
have
you
the
bring up,
hardware, man.
and then also you bring up, is James Harden better than T Mac? That's what I'm saying. I don't understand. Like, I don't get it. And
He has
that's like,
better numbers, as far as stats go.
mhm.
But when you're looking at the quality of player, I mean, T Mac in his day, I mean, he's just a special kind of player. He could take over the game completely.
And I know I'm gonna say this one name, and people might get offensive or offended. Does Anthony Davis deserve to be on the list already?
Mm,
You bring up the fact that people said he was better than Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan led his teams. AD is hurt every year. Is Tim Duncan rarely got hurt? So I don't get how these lists were made. Seemed like the lists were more of like the older generations players. I understand they were great in their own right, but there's only a certain list that needs to be for the current players. And I just don't get when you look up resume by resume, you see James Harden versus T Mac or how I just kept saying. But it just makes no sense to me, and I just hope they get the recognition, especially Manu, man. Like you said, he's a nameless Hall of Fame finalist. How is he not get on that list, man? One of the best European players ever. Makes no absolute sense to me.
yeah, it is what it is on that end. But again, man, it boggles the mind why they didn't include them. But we'll go ahead
Yeah.
and move off of that talk. Because I'm sure Spurs fans feel the same way. They want to have Manu represented. Even Tony represented in the NBA 75 greatest players of all time. But I'm sure they'll be vocal and voice their displeasure as they've done so right now on Twitter. So we're going to talk about the latest ESPN mock draft. So I'm going to go ahead and show this because this came out today. I saw it today. So this is the NBA's, the ESPN's latest mock draft, and what they have is they have the Spurs projected to get the 8th pick, and the Spurs are also going to get the 18th and the 21st pick. They get the 18th pick via the Raptors, and the 21st is coming via the Celtics. So right now, if they had the draft and the Spurs in fact did get the 8th pick, the Spurs are projected to get Shaden Sharp out of Kentucky, a 6'6" shooting guard. I mean, again, a shooting guard. Are you kidding me?
Don't say
You know,
guard around Spurs fans, Joe.
that's the thing. A lot of Spurs fans are already saying some things. You know, they're like, again, a guard. I'm done with guards. You know, they want to get a player of more size. You know, somebody that's a little bit, I guess, better on the wing. You know, because we do need a wing defender, or they want to get a big a great shooting big man. You know, somebody that can kind of spread the floor, go in the paint. You know, create their own shot, and then step out and be able to knock down a three, be able to knock down a mid-range jumper with ease. You know, that would really open up the game for the Spurs. But a shooting guard, again, we're going to be flirting with another shooting guard, and I think this is going to show you, this is indicative of the Spurs getting a higher pick. If you're going to go from 10 on up, I think they're going to go with the best available player, you know,
Mhm.
at that position, versus, oh, we're going to go ahead and fill a need. You know, there's a guy there that's really good and he can fill a need for the team, but we're going to go ahead and gamble and get the best available player. I don't know, man. At some point, you got to gamble, you know? And if you already have, you know, a roster full of shooting guards, why would you even consider getting another one? I'm not saying that they will, but, you know, the projection here is just kind of disheartening. I mean, what do you think about it, Rocky?
I mean, to me, I understand people hate the word guard in San Antonio, but if there's a player that's like one of the top guards that falls to you, say the Spurs get it 6 or 7, how they're projected, and he's there and he was mocked top 4, I just feel like it's a good risk to take. I mean, I'm looking at a site, it's called NBA Draft Room, and they have a comparison of Shaden Sharp compared to Brandon Roy. Brandon Roy was a pretty solid player before his injury. Another guard that I personally like that the Spurs can go after was Johnny Davis. Johnny Davis is a bucket. He's scoring, and I mean, you can always upgrade the guard position to run along DeJounte. But to me, they do have 3 first-round picks. That makes sense. But are those players going to get that playing time? Or are they all going to be in Austin? You know, which of those players are they going to wait? Why not package 2 of those picks and possibly move up to get one of those top players? Because you go, how many of those players are actually going to see the minutes and are be in the Spurs feature? That's how I see it.
Yeah, well, we're going to go ahead and read off some of the picks that are coming courtesy of our very own prospect draft specialist slash draft specialist, Benjamin Bornstein of Project Spurs. And he put, not in any particular order, that if, you know, the Spurs went ahead and did get the 8th pick, he would actually go for Johnny Davis out of Wisconsin, Keegan Murray out of Iowa, AJ Griffin out of Duke, or Benedict Matherian out of Arizona. And again, it's just not in any order. These are Ben's picks. He's a guy that knows a ton about picks. So if you need to ask him anything about a player that you're currently looking at, you want to see if he's going to be possibly a good fit for the San Antonio Spurs, make sure that you go and follow the Ben Bornstein of Project Spurs. I'll go ahead and share his Twitter handle here in a little bit. But let's go ahead and also look at the other picks that the Spurs had as far as their, you know, the 18th pick here from the Raptors. And this is just projections. If the Spurs get that 18th pick and they're saying this player's available, they'll pick him. It's Walker Kessler out of Auburn, 7'1" center. And right now he's only 20.5 years of age. At the 21st pick, courtesy of the Celtics, the Spurs are projected to draft Nikola Jovic out of Mega Mozart, 6'10", small forward, who is only 18.7 years of age, almost 19 years old. So these are just projected picks. It doesn't mean that they're going to actually get them. If these players are available, they're saying this is what they're predicting that the Spurs would get. And our good friend Benjamin Bornstein says at the 18th and 21 pick, again in no particular order, these are his prospects that he puts up there. Again, he put Nikola Jovic from Mega Mozart, Walker Kessler, again, we just saw him up on the board as well, from Auburn. Tari Eason from LSU. Kendall Brown from Baylor. Ochai, I don't even know how to say his name, Abaji from Kansas. Harrison Ingram from Stanford. And those are Ben's picks. So again, if you want to go ahead and interact with Benjamin Bornstein, make sure you go and check him out on Twitter. We'll go ahead and share his handle right now. But what do you think? I mean, look at, we got a comment right now from King J watching us from YouTube. He says, I want Baldwin from Milwaukee. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get Ben on one of these shows here so we can actually really dive in as we get closer to the NBA draft, really dive in and have like a cheat sheet of some kind of, not only the players that Spurs fans are interested in, but kind of the picks that we would like to see come to the San Antonio Spurs squad. But what do you think, Rocky? I mean, 18 and 21, you want a center, you want a small forward, or do you want another shooting guard?
Hey man, you give me Walker Kessler 7-1. This sounds like the Twin Towers all over again. You have Jakob, not saying, and then you have 2 7-foot people. But I watched a couple of games. Kessler can actually shoot his mid range, but it kind of would just in his first couple of years, if he got some playing time, it kind of wouldn't make sense because they would just be standing there in the paint, and it's just like there'd be no point for DeJounte. But Kessler's in the games I've seen, he's done pretty good. I didn't mention earlier, AJ Griffin's been doing pretty good for Duke. Him and Banchero, but I've been hearing and seeing on Spurs Twitter like, why is Banchero falling? And they're saying it's all part of the Spurs plan to get him. But I'll take a center. I mean, Spurs fans want a big. Walker Kessler's all young. He was once at UNC and then he transferred to Auburn. He's been a star. Auburn's a top team. He's one of the other prime players, so I'll be happy with the pick.
Yeah, and I think when the King J is referring to Patrick Baldwin from Milwaukee.
Yeah, Patrick Baldwin Jr. And then also, you telling me I get a poor man Nikola Jokic, but that has one letter difference? Hey, sign me up, man.
That's the country version of Nikola Jokic.
Exactly. It's just like the Spurs had our own Luka. Hey, look how that turned out. Maybe this turns out better.
Yeah, and if you want to follow Ben, like we said, he's very knowledgeable when it comes to prospect picks, and you can go ahead and just give him everything you got. You want an opinion about somebody, ask Ben. You can see right now, you can follow him at @the_Boomstein on Twitter. Great follow, by the way. So make sure you are following Benjamin Bornstein. And he also writes a lot too about college basketball and also NBA draft picks. So again, make sure you go and follow Ben, and also make sure that you go check out projectspurs.com. And also, before we go any further here, we got to recognize our sponsor here, which is DraftKings. So make sure you go ahead and download the iOS app and the Android app, and make sure you go ahead and use the Project Spurs promo code TBPN. Use TBPN, and you can get some free goodies courtesy of Project Spurs. And thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring the Spurs Rewind. Well, Rocky, we're going ahead and bringing all this to a close here, because we got to go ahead and bring the show to a close at some point. But we want to give a shout out and let everybody know we appreciate them watching the show and following along with us. We are missing Vicky today. Vicky unfortunately couldn't join us because she got called away by work. She had some things she had to do over there. We do miss Vicky. I was telling Rocky I didn't even want to do the show without her. Rocky said he volunteered to wear a wig and talk in Vicky's voice, but I said, no, that's going to get too weird. So, Rocky, where can they follow you on social media? I will go ahead and put it on here. Let's see. There it is. You can follow Rocky here at Rocks, ROCKSSJR on Twitter. So make sure you go and follow Rocky on Twitter. He's a great follow as well. He likes to go ahead and talk about the world of sports, and especially the world of basketball. He likes to be pretty fly out there. You should ask him one time about his short shorts and what kind of short shorts you should be wearing. Well, they're not called short shorts. They're jogging shorts. Let's pronounce them correctly. The jogging shorts. And you can also follow me, Joe Garcia, at Two Shots Podcast. And it's all spelled out, TWO, Two Shots Podcast. And I like to talk with you about anything going on in the world of sports and anything that's going on, in the world of geekdom. I love checking out, video games and anime and anything else that you might, want to shoot my way as far as streaming services go. Is there a new show that's on Netflix, Hulu, or something? Let me know about it. I'll give it a watch and let you know what I think about it. So we're going to go ahead and bring the episode to a close here. So for Rocky Garza Jr., I'm Joe Garcia. Thank you guys for watching another episode of the Spurs Rewind. And like we always say, spread the love, stop the hate, be kind. We're out.